Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. Today we work at the part 7 for the Photoreal interior with V-Ray. So we have to model more stuffs for the other side of the room, and if we have time we'll try to finalize this part with the right shaders. So in the next part we'll work just on the compositing and then on the rendering also by night. I'd like to add another part later to see how to play with an animation with V-Ray. So we'll see how to work with a walkthrough with all the settings for V-Ray, for the global illumination and all the other stuff needed. So let's close this view and let's go in a perspective just to have a vision of the room. You see that we have stuff all around. We need to do something for this part of the room because actually it is empty. So I like to have something over we have again a problem with the book. You see that it's lost. Let's see if we open the other version. Let's see this one. We have again the same problem. We have you have to see all the ID, so maybe you have the right scene version and you have not to fix the stuff. You see that we have brown stuff over the book. Just this one, the original one, is right, and this one. So if you have time you have to fix it. Now we can go to check the other part, and let's see to have a camera there on the sofa to see what we can see from the camera we are using. Maybe we can pick this camera. Let's select the camera and we can make a clone as a copy. Then this camera will be the number 4 and we move there, and then we select the target and we move it. So let's say that we select both, also the camera again, and we move it. So our stuff for the TV must be there. So let's start modeling something. Let's imagine that it can be something like, let's say, like that. We have just to decide the scale there. So let's imagine that we have something like that. We have 80 centimeters, let's say 65. So it will be not so big. And then let's see, there we have 6 meters. Let's say maybe it is 4 meters. So it will be a little bit more little. Maybe we can do it bigger because I like to have stuff also on this part of the room because actually it is empty. So maybe we can have a bigger size. Let's imagine maybe 5 meters. So it's really big furniture. Okay, let's imagine something like that. So now we have to do something more, and we have to prepare this one. So let's say that the base is 45, maybe 55 centimeters, and the TV can stay there. So let's zoom from this point of view, or maybe directly in the viewport. we can move it to put on the right place over the ground. So we'll have something like that, and that's the base for our furniture. Let's call it TV furniture. Okay, that's our base, and now we can put something more over it. So let's make a clone as a copy, and this one will be maybe just 3 centimeters, so it is something not so big, and it is a little bit larger. Let's say maybe 68. So let's select both, and we can go working in the perspective with the isolation. Okay, so we can move this one there, so we have just the space. Now I like to pick this one. We can convert to editable poly, and then we can pick this edge and the other one there, and we can make a little chamfer, so maybe something around 0.25 with just one more substep. So we have this shape, and for this one we can convert to editable poly, and we can select all the edges, chamfer again 0.25, and say yes. Okay, nice. So this one will be, let's prepare a new material. We can maybe reset the material editor to have enough space. This one will be TV furniture metal glossy. We go for a V-Ray material, and that's a dark gray with a freshener reflection. It is with a nice reflection, with a glossy. Obviously later we'll fix the quality. Actually we are just playing a little bit with the various parameters, and the anisotropy is minus 0.25, and for the moment we stay with this value. For the other part we're going to have a little bit of contrast, so this furniture will be white, and let's say TV white outline, and then back to a V-Ray material. This is white, freshening reflection, and it has nice reflection with glossy, so 0. Let's say 75. Okay, and for the moment we stay with this value. So now I like to have something to open, so we can go on this viewport. We move this one just a little bit. Okay, and then we can create a spline, but we can use a rectangle. So let's say something like that, and then we can convert to editable spline, and on this part we can refine. Okay, Then we select the vertex there and there, and sorry, this one and this one, and we move it down, so we have the possibility to pick there to open maybe a little bit more. Okay, nice. So then we can select all the vertices, and we go to have a fillet, just a little bit. Okay, nice, perfect. And then we can extrude this spline, so let's use the extrusion, and we go for 1.20 m. Okay, so that's our first part, and I like to generate mapping coordinates, and we convert to editable poly, and then I like to create the right chamfer, but let's remove this part because we have the chamfer there, and we go in the chamfer 0.25 and say yes and close. Perfect. This one has the same material, and we say that there we have also a compound objects, let's say sorry, an extended primitives. Let's say that we have a chamfer box, and this chamfer box we can create it manually. Okay, it will be 1 meters. It will be 2 centimeters height and 2 centimeters for the length, and it will be maybe 0.5 centimeters. So let's align to this one, center and center, and then we move this one on the top there, and then this one there, and it has the same chromic material. Okay, maybe we can put it in the middle. Okay, nice. So let's select both. We can make a little group, TB part group, and then we make a copy. Sorry, let's make a copy as an instance. Okay, and we make the same to have another copy using the shift key. Okay, and then we make the latest copy using the shift key again as an instance. Okay. Back in the camera we have everything, so it is really the first part of our model. Let's go in the camera and let's move a little bit to see it better. Okay, nice. So let's save this file in the right folder. So we are talking about the part 7, and that's the part 7. Nice. Let's make preview. So it is okay for the resolution. We have no anti-alias, and the various setup are really there. So something really fast. Let's go to have less min samples and global subdivision, and let's render. okay, we have still the displacement. We can remove for the test and render gain. So you see we have a nice visibility over the look there. So first thing we can do is to change the material there for the metal. So I like to have more reflectivity because we can go for 8 for the IRR, and this one now it has 1.6. we can go for 2.2, and less glossiness, let's go for 909, and render gain. So you see we have more reflection there for the metal. I like to put something to be sure we have a nice reflectivity. So let's create a simple teapot. Okay, and in the rendered viewport we can select this area and render. Okay, maybe we can add more reflection, and for the other part there, the white area, we can have more reflectivity too. Back there with the test. Okay, it is nicer than before. So now we can continue to put the other things. So let's remove this teapot, and we can have, let's imagine, let's use a perspective. Okay, we can have the TV on this part, and then we have other stuff there. So let's do something like, let's peek back this part just to have something. Okay, nice. So let's go to have half of the for 2 meters we can have a box. Okay, so this one is length 2 meters, the width is not so much, let's say 5 centimeters, and the 8 is maybe something around 45 centimeters, and we put this one back and on the top, so it stay on the ground there, and we can check the position there. So it stay there and there. Okay, then convert to editable. Maybe it can be also a little bit more. Let's say that it is 2 meters and a half. Okay, and we can convert to editable poly and select all the edges and chamfer 0.25. Okay, then we need something like this one, but it will be bigger, so we can make another box, and this one will be 2 meters and a half. It will be let's say maybe 25 centimeters, maybe 30 centimeters or 35 centimeters, and it will be high 7 centimeters. So let's align with this one, Okay, and we need again to make the same thing we done for the other one. So convert to editable poly, chamfer 0.25, and say yes, and close. And I like to have this one can stay there and then there. And talking about the 8, I like to have more space down and just a little bit there. Okay, so that's pieces as wood material. So we go there and we call a new material TV wood, assign and prepare a V-Ray material, and there we'll have a bitmap. We should have something in the 3ds Max maps. So let's go inside the wood. We have this one, but it's really little. Let's see if we have something inside the arc material. We are still talking about maps coming from Autodesk. Let's see this one, if it is nice. It is not bad. Maybe we can use this one. Okay, let's zoom this object. We have to tune the mapping, so we can tune for this one. Let's assign, to have a better look, we can, for example, pick this face and this other face and set a UV map as planar, then poly select, and we select this part and we assign another UV map, and we say that it's planar, but let's see. Okay, and again poly select. So now let's change and let's have more repetition over this area. Okay, we can try with something like that. Let's do the same for the other mesh there. So we say that this face has a UV map. Okay, and then edit select invert. Oh, sorry. Inside this one, poly select, polygon, edit select invert, and we go for a box map. It's not important because we don't see so much about this part. Okay, and poly select again. Nice. Let's go back to be near. It seems not bad. Let's go back in the camera. I don't like so much these wood maps. So back there, and let's see if we have something better. This one is not bad. Okay, so the rotation is right, and let's try to have a little bit less. Okay, I like to see how it looks from this point of view. So back in the rendering, let's render this part. I don't like the texture. No. So let's go for something else. We need a nice wood material. This one is a little bit better, so maybe we can use this one. Let's see again the rendering. Okay, let's try to go with this one. Maybe we can go for a darker color, so let's say that this one is still inside a composite map. We can put another pass, and let's say that we have an RGB tint and we use a black color. And there, let's see, for example, to have a multiply, to have a darker wood. Okay, so then back there we have freshener reflection. Let's go for 1.85. White for the moment for the reflectivity. Back there. Okay, you see we have heavy, really heavy reflection. Then we use the map to have the reflectivity, so we copy this one, and there we put a color correction map, and this map inside as a copy. We remove the saturation, so now we are controlling this one with this map. Okay, you see that it is lower the reflection, but we need also to control the glossiness, so let's copy this map there and we go for something like that. Let's see how it looks, because I like to have glossy reflection. Maybe a little bit less, so we have to go there and have more clear reflectivity, clear map. Okay, you see. And then we need also a little bit of bumping, so we can use this map as a copy and we can put inside the bump. Let's say we have just 5 and we have to change to 0.3 to have less detailing, and let's go to have more contrast. Okay, nice. Back to render. Okay, that's done. So that's a part of our stuff there for the TV. We can go to create something more up, and then we can start playing with placing all the stuff needed inside this tool. But again, I like to see there if we can have more reflectivity. So back in the rendering, I like to see there if we have a little bit more reflectivity. Okay, we start to see something nice, and let's save. So back in a perspective, okay, so let's create something up. So from this point of view, let's pick just this piece and go in isolation. So we need another box, and this time I'm talking about something bigger. So it must be 2 meters and half. But over the other axis there, and it would be high, maybe 1 meters, maybe 1 meters and half. Okay, so it can stay there, but higher, because there I like to have the TV. And let's check there. Let's say that this one is 60, maybe 65. And zoom, because you know we need the space to make also the other stuff needed. So let's make it 63. Okay, then convert to editable poly, and all the edges with a chamfer 0.25, and yes, and close. And let's go to change the position there. So move, right mouse button. Okay, nice. Now we can create some boxes, and these boxes must be 125 and 150, and let's say 2 centimeters and half. And we move this one on the right position. Maybe it can be 3 centimeters. So setting convert to editable poly, and all the edges with the chamfer with 0.25. Then pick this one, pick this face and remove, and then we can go for a shell, but it will be 2 centimeters inside and 0 on the outer. Then let's move this one there, and we can have the second copy. So we can make a fix there to be sure that we stay on the right value with the movement, and let's have it there. And I like to see there if we have enough space. Maybe we have to change a little bit this mesh, and a little bit this mesh too. Okay, nice. All the stuff, let's go for the camera. Let's select those pieces and those pieces as the white material. So exit from isolation, and let's move the camera, because maybe everything is really really high, as you can see. So we have to change the scaling for some stuff, and I think that we can scale both pieces and then move it and rescale again. Okay, and now it should be okay. Now if we go to render a preview, just to be sure that everything works fine, okay, nice. So we can put some stuff there, and I like to move this part on the other part where we have the TV. Let's put maybe a box just to have the measure of the TV. So let's say that we have something like that. Please remember that this one is just for a test purpose, just to have the measure of the TV. So we have to pick the stuff and let's move it in the right place from the top. Okay, there we have the TV. Nice. Then we can put something more over this part, and we can use again a wood plate. So let's make a copy. And we can pick the vertices, but we need an edit poly. Okay, nice. So we have the wood there, and then I like to have two little planes, so we can make again some wood plane there. Let's say maybe something like that. Let's say 2 centimeters. So something really light. Okay. And let's say also that this one is 2 meters and 40, or maybe 2 meters and 30, and I like to move it there, and this one stays down, maybe something like that. We can convert to editable poly, select both, chamfer 0.25 as always, and close. And this one has the same wood, but let's make another material. So let's say TV box wood box, and we can assign this one, and this one will be a multi-sub object. Keep all map as submap. We'll have just 2 material, and the first one will be this one as an instance, and the second one not. So all the faces there are ID 1. Let's go in the perspective, isolation, and then we say that this face and this face are object ID 2. Okay, and there we have the same reflective metal. Nice. Back in the camera and back there, and let's see if it works. So let's render. Okay, we have the wood and then the metal. Nice. We can make a clone. As an instance. We can put the camera there. Let's select the target. Okay. Select back the camera to see a little bit more of the room and save. Obviously we have to put stuff over the furniture, and we have also to work to model the TV. For the moment we can say TV temp, and we go for a V-Ray material with a black color with freshener reflection, EV reflection. Okay, save, and let's make a preview. The first preview will be more little than the basic resolution, let's say 650, just to have a better vision over the room. Then we have to model some stuff to be put over the new furniture we just created, and we have to tune up obviously the rendering and post more camera to have a better visibility over the room. Let's see the other cameras. This one stays on the furniture. This one see just this part, and this one is there. Let's make another copy of the cameras, and this one edit clone as a copy, and we can move this one. This is the camera number 5, and let's move it. Okay, so it is there, and let's try to change a little bit to have a better visibility. That's the camera target, and let's see, for example, this point of view. So we can see also how much stuff we have to add to the room. You see that, for example, we need to put something there, for example, a plant with a vase or something like that. We can put some chair, but we start to have enough thing inside the room. So let's see, and we can see maybe it's just some setting to have a better quality rendering. You can, for example, let's go back to 900 and 500, and we can use the anti-alias, and we can go, for example, with the triangle filter, and we can set to 1.8, And then something more that can be done is to have, for example, there -3, -1. We can add the detail enhancement, and let's put there for the moment 50. And in the light cache you can put, for example, 2000, and there let's go with 32 and 4, and we should have a nice quality. So let's render. It should be not so slow to calculate the entire environment with a nice looking level of detail. From this point of view, I see that there is an error there. You see I made some mistake with the calculation there, so we have to change there and also the other furniture, but in part we have a nice result for the moment. So we have to create the TV, and we have to put some stuff inside there the room, and put more stuff also on the other part of the room. So it will take just a little bit to finalize all this thing. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on MaxCookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye. Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi, and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for MaxCookie. Today we work on the part 8 for the Photoreal interior with V-Ray. We have to fix this problem on the furniture, and we have to finalize the other things we have to add there, and prepare also the TV model. So let's start fixing the model there, so we can pick some part of this model to be sure we have everything fixed. Let's go in isolation, and then in the perspective, and zoom to all these meshes. So first thing, let's select this model, and we can use the vertices. Let's have also the edges faces, so we can pick those vertices and move it. We can check from the top. Okay, and that's right. Then we can do the same thing to these pieces, and then we have to do the same thing for the other two. So let's use an edit poly, vertices, move, and let's move a little bit there. Okay, nice. Then let's continue with the others. That's right. Let's go to fix this model, and now we can do the same for the other. So let's pick these vertices, and we do it more little, something like that. Okay, nice, that's fixed. So let's go to put some stuff over this model. We have not so much model for texture to make new books, so to do something really fast, we can do something using this one. So we pick this one and this one, sorry, this one. Let's go in isolation. Okay, let's make a clone for this one, and we can move it. Okay, let's go as full screen there to check the book. Okay, and that's nice. So we have the book in the right position. It is a little bit big, but it can be nice for the moment. So we'll use this one to make it similar to an encyclopedia. So we move it there, and then let's use the array, so extras, and let's use the array to make all the other copies. So let's use the preview, and let's move it 0, and maybe we can use 20 copies. Okay, maybe we do just a little bit of more space between. Let's remove the edges faces. Okay, it can be nice. Let's say, okay, so we have the right model. Then we can do something there. For example, we can move this book. Let's make a clone. Maybe we can need to change something, and okay, let's rotate. Maybe we can fix before the we can do it manually there. We have to move all the books. That's not nice, but you see something is wrong with the position. Let's check also there. You see that we have a problem with the rotation, so let's pick all that book. Let's rotate manually. Okay, and then we can move it to stay on the top. Nice. Let's make another copy. And we can rotate it completely. And let's rotate a little bit to have something not so precise. Nice. And let's copy another book over this one. And then we move it there. The position is right. That's not a problem. So back in the camera number 5. Let's unhide and save. And we can make a render, but we have to use a lower quality, so remove the displacement, and the anti-alias can be lower. Let's go to 1.4, and there we can go back to 3 -3 -3. Let's remove the detail enhancement, and let's go there to 750, and back there to 16 and 2. Let's render a preview. Okay, let's render just this area. Okay, we have the books there, and it seems working fine. So we can put some more books there, and then we put something like some vase or something like that. So let's close, let's go back there, and perspective, and zoom to the book. And we can, for example, select, let's say, maybe that's book. Then we can make a copy. We have to move it a little bit, and then we can, for example, pick 2 books. And using the shift key we make a copy. We can rotate it, So we can move this one. Let's zoom. Okay, and this one can be moved manually. Nice. So we have all the books ready. Then let's copy something we have on the other point of view. Let's check the other cameras. We can pick something, I think, for let's go in a perspective. Let's select this one and let's rotate the room. We can pick this vase. Let's make a clone as a copy, because maybe we can change something. Back in the view number 5 and back then in the perspective. Okay, then let's move. Let's check the material for this one. We have a white color, and that's nice. And we can make a clone as a copy. And we change something, so let's see the final result. We can do something with a different shape. This one can be one of the shape, and this one can stay a little bit moved just to have something different. So we have two vases there, and we can create something more to be put over this layer. So let's select this one and this one. And let's go in isolation, and let's see over all the view, and then let's create a line. Let's say something like that, and then something like that. Okay, so this shape, we go to create the outline, then we go on this vertices and we can create the fillet, then we select this one and we create the fillet 2. Let's close. And then we can use the lathe on the minimum, let's say 40, and align to this one. Let's move it on the ground and move it there. Okay. So zoom to all view, and then we can create what we call, and we can create this one, so we can call it TV vase. We go for a V-Ray material and a sign. To do something fast, we can, or maybe we can do something different. Let's use a very fast subsurface scattering number 2, and to do something really fast we can use a marble, and then we can choose let's say as overall color. Let's go there and let's use a substance, or maybe directly a bitmap, and we can pick for a bitmap coming from the 3ds Max maps. Let's see inside the stone, and we can use, for example, this map. Let's say to generate the maps. Let's remove the blurring, and let's see with 2 and 2, maybe 4, 6, 8, and 3, 4. Okay, so back in the perspective point, let's hide everything, and let's see again the preview as before. Okay, we have to check this area in a bigger way, so we can use this cam. So let's select this camera and clone as a copy. Let's go in the camera number 6, and we can move it. Let's select the camera target, and then we go higher, and then again select camera, and we go higher too, and then back, select camera target, and we move it. Okay. Back in the rendering there, let's say that we want to see this preview. So you see we have the vase, and we have also this one. Okay, let's go in the material, and we can play a little bit with this one. We'll have a little bit of bump, but that's wrong, so let's make a copy. And let's go there, and we can use a color correction, keep all map, saturation, so we have a black and white map, and there we say 0.3. Then it is too much, let's go for 5, and we have the trace reflection, so we have the reflectivity. Let's zoom just this area. Okay, we have the reflection now, and let's say that the glossiness is nice. Maybe we can have a little bit less, so 0.8, and then let's go there, and let's say that we have more scattering, let's say 2 centimeters. Okay. Okay, nice. Maybe we can have still a little bit less specular glossiness. Okay, and just to see there, let's change a little bit the IRR and light, just to tune up a little bit the scattering. Okay, do something like that. Let's go back to the camera number 5, and let's render again a preview. Sorry, and let's render a preview for this area. Okay, we can move this object, So let's close. Let's move there. Okay, nice. So now we can put something over there. Maybe we can do something really simple. Let's imagine something like a lamp, maybe on this part of the room, and then we can work at the TV model. So let's save. Okay, so let's close this one, and let's go to model a lamp. So we pick these two meshes. Let's use a perspective, and back in all the cameras we can model it. Let's do something simple. So we use a spline to create the part of the model there. Let's say maybe something like I like to make something strange. Okay, let's zoom the spline and working on the vertices. So let's move this one there and this one there. This one can stay on the ground. This one is outer, and this one must be lower, but let's say that there we need more space. Okay, so the spline, outline, an internal outline, or maybe I'm thinking about this. Okay, let's go in this way. Nice. So let's close there, and the vertices, let's say that we like to have the fillet just in some area. Okay, let's go to have the fillet. Okay, and close, and let's move over the y-axis, the z-axis. Then we can use the lathe minimum, and we can change the shape. Okay, you see, it's a strange model, but I hope it will be nice. And then let's exit from there. Let's imagine that this one stay there, and from the other lamp we can pick something, like for example this one, edit clone as a copy, because maybe we have to change something. We can put it there and back there and align to this one. Okay, so let's go to full screen there, and we can scale it, because you see it's really big. Okay, nice. So this one can be linked to the other part, so if we move this one we have no problem. Okay, so let's say that this one can have another color. There we have the wood, so maybe again we can have this white over the lamp too. And another thing we have to do is the cable. So let's pick this one, this one, and this one, and let's go in isolation. from the top view, let's zoom, and we can use the same way we done the other cable. So we can create a curve, okay, like this one, and we can move it, and then we can say that this one is obviously renderable. Okay, and let's start to move it. Then the first thing is to go there, then we have the cable. I like to change a little bit. Okay, and then this one can stay there, and the other vertices should stay lower. It's not important where we are putting this one, and the same for this one. We have just to take care about this one to go. Okay, nice. So let's close, and we can exit from the isolation, and let's go in the top view again, and let's pick this one, and we can pick the cable material. Okay, so back to the other cable, and we have the material. So back in the camera number 6, select the camera target, we can move it and select the camera, and we can move it too. Okay, select back the target. Okay, and we can go a little bit more distant, close, save, and back in the rendering we can render this part. Okay, perfect. So close, back in the camera number 5, and there we like to render this area. Okay, so we have this lamp there, and maybe we can have another base on this part. Maybe this one can be made of glasses. So let's create something really simple. Let's zoom this area. Let's create a line. But let's remove, okay. And let's say that this one is really big. So then again, let's create the curve using the fillet, and then using the spline we can pick this one we say to create the outline. This time is more little. Then back in the vertex. These vertices can be moved. These vertices, let's zoom, and we need the fillet. Okay, so close and use the lathe minimum, and we have to fix still the vertices. These vertices will be corner. That's wrong, sorry. We can select all the other vertices and move it, and then let's zoom this area because we need more space there. I like to make something strange. Okay, then this one can be moved to stay on the ground. Perfect. And then let's move, for example, there, and this one is made of glass base and a sign, and zoom. So this one will be a V-Ray material again. We'll have freshen reflection. We'll have something like 1.7. White reflection, and then we have just a little bit of reflection glossiness, but we have the refraction set to 1.4 with refraction set to 210. Affect shadows. Okay, so I like to see this object. We can have more refraction. Let's go for 240. And back in the render, let's render just this part. Okay, it is better. So let's go in a perspective. And let's zoom. Okay, we have this one, and then we have another one, and maybe this one is a little bit more little. Okay. And actually we have nothing, but it's just to have something over the furniture there. Okay, now we need to work at the TV. Let's go in a perspective. You know, actually we are using just a really simple mesh, so we are talking about something like that. You know, I like to create something more complex, but we don't need so much something so complex. So let's do something like 4 centimeters, and then let's imagine that it stay attached to the wall, and we can do something with a map. So that's the TV temp. Let's go to a gradient ramp. Okay, so it will be let's say a box, and we'll use something like this one can stay there. So we have there a gray like this one, then copy and paste, and there we have a black color, and there we have black too, and the change there with the screen will be really, you see, really near, and we'll move it a little bit higher, and let's say that we have also, you see, with no tiling. Okay, maybe something like that. So we have the right map. Let's go back to the camera, and inside right now I like just to see if it is working as map. Okay, you see that we have the different colors. Now I like to have, first of all, the reflection should be, let's go for 1.5 for the IRR, and we go to have a little bit of glossiness back in the rendering. Okay, you see that we are starting to have the glossy reflection, a little bit of distortion for the glass. So let's go for bump. We can go for noise, and again render. Okay, it's obviously really so much. We can try with 5 for the bump amount, maybe a little bit less, so let's try with 2. I like just to have a little bit of distortion, that's too much. A little bit less. Okay. Then we can have, let's go in the isolation perspective, because I like to do something more. So convert to editable poly, and let's select all the edges. And let's go for chamfer 0.25 as always. Let's say yes and close. Then we can make a clone for this one using the shift key, and we can just scale it just to have a bar over there. So we can have something like that, but it will be a little bit more little and a little bit larger. And it will stay at the base of the TV, and it can be a chrome material. So TV chrome, V-Ray material, black color, freshen reflection, 18 white, and glossy. Then let's zoom this area, and we can have a little logo, so text. We can make it more little, and let's say something really strange. We don't need to know which is the logo. So center, and this one can be let's go for a shell. This one will be TV white, and it is just V-Ray material with a white color and nothing more. So sorry, that's not a shell. I like to have this extrude, and let's say 0, 1. Okay, nice, and rotate but 180. Back to the camera there, and again render. Sorry, inside the camera and render. Okay, we have the bar there and we have the logo too. We have to move a little bit the TV because you see it's strange that it stay on the same plane. So let's pick this one, and this one. Let's make a group TV, and we move it a little bit higher and a little bit there. Okay, nice. And this one can stay a little bit there, and save. So we have also the TV. Maybe we can just change a little bit the shape for the TV. So open group, let's pick this one. Okay, and group, close. So let's try to render a frame. Okay, so you see that's our actual result. We can put something maybe there because we have nothing. Maybe it can be another furniture, or maybe we can add, for example, some chair or something like that. But I see that maybe we have a problem with this mesh, with this one. So go in isolation. Right, this one is not changed, so edit poly, vertices, and let's zoom. And we can move it. Okay. Nice. We can also start to prepare the other lighting, so the lighting by night. Let's change this camera just a little bit. Okay, let's go for something a little bit higher. Okay, and let's select also the target. Okay. Perfect. So let's save, and maybe we can think to have something over there, but it's not so important. Maybe we can have a curtain there, but I like to render this image with the right quality. So back there 52, 4, and back there let's use -1 detail enhancement and 2000 for the subdivision, and the anti-alias with the right value. So save and render. That's nice. We can make also a test using the depth of field, but let's select the camera and let's say which is the focus. So the focus is this one. Okay, and let's say that we have the depth of field, and let's see with a lower quality. Just to adjust the depth of field information and a little bit more level. And to adjust the depth of field, we have before to change the F number. Let's go for 2.5 and let's render another preview. We have obviously more light coming inside the scene, but let's see there if we have a little bit of depth of field. It is just a little bit. Maybe we can add a little bit more, so let's go for 2 and let's see the result. Okay, we have a little bit more depth of field, and now we can tweak also the shutter speed to have something more interesting. Let's try with 160. Okay, the illumination is again better than before. Okay, nice. Let's see if we add a little bit of ambient occlusion too. You see, we are catching a little bit more detail over the model. Okay, so I think that in the next part, maybe for example we can have some art on this panel. So let's go in the first camera. Okay, we can pick something like that. Let's make a clone as a copy, and then from the top we can copy it there. Nice. Let's rotate by -90 degree, and we can scale it. Let's go in a perspective. Okay, let's open the script. Okay, and let's make another material like this one. So maybe let's copy there. Let's call it Art 5 we can assign and choose a new map, always from there. Let's say that maybe we can have something like that. Okay, let's rotate by 90 degrees. Let's remove the blurring, group, close, and we can rotate it by -90 back in the camera, and we can have this one there. And then we can have something from, so -90, copy, and let's make it a little bit bigger, perspective, okay. Let's copy this material, Art6, open this group, select this one, and there we choose for another map. And let's see what we have there. And let's see which one we can be used. Maybe this one is really nice. So assign. Okay. Back to the camera and close the group. And let's move it a little bit. And this one can stay maybe there. And then we make a copy. And this one will be, oh sorry, will be more little, and it will stay, for example, there. And perspective, okay, group, open, pick this one, and let's make another copy. This one is the Art7. Let's assign, and then we can pick something else. Maybe we can use this one. Okay, group, close, and back in the camera. So save, and I like to navigate between the cameras. That's the first one. It's still similar as before. Camera number 2 is the same. Camera number 3 is the same because we see just some part of the room. This one is a little bit more interesting now, so let's make a preview for this one. And let's select this camera. And this camera should be again with 160 for the shutter speed and 2 for the f number, and the focus can be there. Okay, nice. And save and render. So we are tuning all the cameras. Maybe there we need to have less light inside the room. I'm not sure. No, it works fine. Okay. Maybe we can have, let's go for 1 for the f number and 200 for the shutter speed. I like to have a little bit of more depth of field there, but we have a lot of light actually. It is really too much. Let's see the depth of field. Oh, sorry. We have to activate it. So back to 160 and 2 for the f number. and render. Okay, you see we have a little bit of depth of field there. Back to the camera 5 just to have a vision. And that's okay. So I think we have to put something there to have a more interesting point of view. Maybe we can add a curtain and then we can just render it. So I like also to have a richer level of detail there. So let's go to have maybe 10 for the max depth. And I like just to focus on this area. Okay, so now we can actually render this point of view, and it will be our viewport. Maybe I like to move these pieces over the wall. Maybe we can completely remove it, or maybe we can have just one there and remove the second one. So inside the rendering again, let's select this area. Okay, it is better. Okay, nice. So remove, and we can make the final render and check together the result. Okay, as you see, the quality is really nice, but we have maybe a little problem with the depth of field, because there it is a little bit too much. So on the next part we have to tune it. So for the moment that's all. On the next part I'd like to finalize adding some stuff there, and we'll work to the night lighting to see how it looks with night lighting and daily lighting as we actually. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye. Hi, my name is Alessandro Cangelosi, and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. This time I like to finalize this project, the Photoreal interior with V-Ray, because it is time to move to a more complex tutorial series related to V-Ray and architectural stuff. So the first thing I like to do is to tweak some stuff and finalize the lighting and the shading. So the first thing I like to check is to see if we need to add something there on this part of the environment. And we can add something really simple, maybe something like another furniture, a little furniture there, just to have something inside the scene. Then I like to tune a little bit the shaders, and then we can play with the lighting and more stuff related to render passes. So let's close this part and let's move to this area. I like to prepare something not so big, so we can think to use the extended primitives, the chamfer boxes. Okay, that's the first one. Let's start moving, and we can do something not so high, maybe a little bit less than the main furniture we prepared there. Then the fillet can be lower, so let's go for perspective and zoom to this mesh. Let's go for 0.25, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, so then the height is too much. Let's go for 3, and then let's go for 10 centimeters and 180. Okay, maybe it can be higher, so something like that can be enough. We need maybe to have more pieces, so this one can stay there, and then we can go to have more, and let's do something like having 4 with an instance, so 3 copies, and you see that's the amount of space. Maybe we can have 2 more, so Ctrl Z. So let's go for having 5 copies. Nice. And then we can model the other stuff, but you know, this one is really simple, so let's use this one, and above 6 piece, go in the isolation, zoom to this one. Okay, then from this point of view we can use again the sample box. We can go for 0.3 and move it there, so we have contact between the 2 surfaces. Nice. We can say that the height is, let's say, 4 centimeters. It is high, maybe 5, let's say 7 centimeters, and let's move it to go to contact. Then we can make a clone, but it can be not so long, so let's say maybe 50 centimeters, 55, and it can stay in the middle. Okay, nice. And we can move it there. Then from the top view we can zoom out and making a clone using the shift key, but maybe we can before finalize the model. So back with another sample box, and from this point of view we can zoom out and we go for something high enough. There's not a problem there. Let's go for 0.35, and we can align to this one. Then we move and we go also to have it, let's say, there, so we can scale this one, and this one can be something around, okay, 50 centimeters. So then this one must be with the right scaling and at the right position, and you see that it must be move, it must stay on the ground. So let's move using this one. Okay, nice. And then we need another copy using the shift key. Okay, now now we can pick both and we can make a copy. Okay, and to have the right space we can make a copy for this one using the shift key. Then we can scale it, let's say 100 centimeters. Then we can be sure that it is touching there, and let's say 0.3. And then we can pick both there, zoom, and we can move it just a little bit to be in contact. Okay. Now you see that we have some parts 3D. I like to scale this one, let's say maybe let's say 15 centimeters, and then we need again some meshes there. So let's go to the front with a wireframe and change to crossing, and then using the shift key we can copy it. So this one can stay there, but we can move this one in the middle over the x-axis. Okay, and then we have to be sure just to scale it, because you see the other one is a little bit more bigger. So now we are ready to make a material. Let's use the window. Okay, and let's prepare a new material. Let's say that we remove this one, and let's say black glossy. So this material is a black material. Let's go in the camera. Let's find a camera that can have a nice visualization for this model. We can exit from this one, go at full screen, and we are talking about a freshening reflection with white color and just a little bit of reflection glossiness. We can save, and we can go to render preview. So let's use a low quality render. Okay, and render. So that's the actual render. We can just move it a little bit. We can make a group. And we can move, let's say, over there just a little bit, and maybe we can have a little rotation to have something more natural. And back to the material, we can have less reflectivity and just a little bit more freshening reflection. And back in the render, we render just this area. Okay, so we have all we need inside the room. We have enough model. We can check from the other point of view. Everything seems working fine. So we are ready to tune the rendering. But I like to, you know, obviously if you have time, you can put more stuff over the furniture. For example, you can use more books there or something like that. For the moment, I like to start tuning some stuff. And the first thing, for example, is let's reset all the materials there. And let's start working on this one. And let's play with the wood. And I like to see there we have 0.3. And let's see what happened with a lower render, let's say 900, and open again this one with no area. We can render. Okay, cancel, and I like to render this part and render. So I like to tune up a little bit there the wood, and we can imagine if the problem is the bump or it is something related to the reflection map and the glossiness map. Okay, so that's our reflection actually. Let's go to have this map with less detail, and let's say that this map control at 65%, and we control the glossiness also manually, sorry, the reflection glossiness, and we can see the result. Okay, let's go for lower reflection, and we can put back a little bit of coloring. And again, render. Okay, so it is less than before, and we can control just with maybe 65% or maybe 60%, and have less reflection there. Let's go for a darker color. Okay, so let's check the glass there. Okay, let's go for 1.4 for the reflectivity and just a little bit of reflection glossiness. And over the rendering, let's try to render this area. Okay, let's remove a little bit of transparency there. Let's go for 240 or 230. Okay, so we have a different density over there. Okay, cancel, and let's go from a point of view where we can see more pavement maybe the camera number 1. Let's see the other. Okay, this one is nice. So I like to play a little bit with the department. So in the rendering view, okay, we can render this area. The carpet is nice. And the pavement is nice too. Okay, let's play a little bit with this material. Okay, so let's go for less reflection glossiness. And let's render again. Okay, I like to have a little bit more reflectivity with less glossiness over. Let's go for 0.8, and we see that we have also the mapping controlling the reflection. And let's go for 80% for the map usage. Okay, it is nicer than before. So I like the pavement, but I like to see also from the other point of view. I think the camera number, maybe the number 6, the number 2, the number 1. Okay, there. Let's see this area, so we can be sure that the shader is ready to be used. Okay, I like it because we have more reflectivity. Then the wood material is nice. Let's see the top area of the room. So render there. Okay, let's pick the material for the roof, and actually there is a noise color with a pure white and just a little bit less white. We have the bump. Maybe it is better to have more usage of this bump, and let's change having more reflectivity too, and we control also the glossiness. So let's say 50% for the glossiness and 75%. Then we can render again. Okay, and I like to change a little bit this geometry there. Okay, So let's go to check the shape, and to do something like that we have to hide everything. Okay, that's the shape. So let's zoom there. And we can change a little bit the shape to have something more bigger, and go at full screen. With the loft we have the mapping. This one is the number 1, and we can assign the same material as the ceiling. Let's isolate all the other stuff, and let's see what happens if we have it on the top area of the room. So back to the camera number 1. Okay, back in the rendering, and I like to see this area. Okay, it is a little bit better than the previous one. So we don't like to have this move. Back to render. Now it will be perfectly linear. Okay, with no smoothing. Nice. So we should have all the stuff needed to render the final image. Maybe I'd like to test this material just for a moment. So let's render this area. Okay, I like to have more reflectivity on this material. So there, let's pick it, and the black stuff can be more reflective, and let's go for 75 for glossiness, and back to the render. We should have a nicer look. Okay, nice. So let's save, and we can put some lights. So we can start putting some more light inside the scene, and we can imagine to have, for example, let's make the first test using a V-Ray light. We'll do something really simple and really fast, but we can have a V-Ray light, and let's say that this one is a sphere, and we put inside the lamp. Let's go there. Okay, and we have it there. So to work with this one, I like to prepare a state. So let's go there, and let's use the state set. And we can call this one daylight render. And now we set a new state, and this one is night time. So we can continue to put more light inside the scene, and let's go at full screen with this one. This one can stay in the middle, and let's zoom out, and we have the other lamp there, and this one is an instance. We can move it manually, and then we have the other light there, so we can move this one using the shift key, but this time is a copy. We go in the middle and from the camera let's zoom, and this one will stay there, and it will be a little bit more little. Nice. And then the last one, we make a clone, let's say as a copy, and we put this one inside this lamp. So all these lights are set to off. We can save and back in the daylight render there in the night time. Let's go to this one and let's record. So this light is set to on. Let's work just on the lights. This one is on. This one is on. This one is on, and this one is the light dawn actually. So this one is off, and I like to see okay. Then we have to set also this one to off, so nighttime set to off this one, or maybe we can just change the timing, so we go to have something around 20. Okay, so back to this one. I think we have a problem. Let's stop and go there. Okay, we have a problem recording this one, so it is better to go there and set to off this light. Okay, this one is recorded in the right way. So let's make a test, and we'll use a lower resolution, and there we can remove and render. Just to be sure that everything is still nice and it's working fine. Okay, everything seems okay. Perfect. So back in the render, let's call this one the night time, and let's see if we have to adjust something. So let's render. And we have still the sun. I think it is due to the environment. That's the problem. So let's try to record and to remove this one. Stop the record. Okay, this one works. Go back there. Okay, and let's check again how it looks. It is possible that we have to tune up also the exposure control, and actually we are using the exposure control from the camera, so I think we have to record there. So record, but maybe we have problems to use to record the light, so the exposure. So maybe the simplest way is just to use the lights. So light number 2, let's go for 300. We use 10 times the power, and this one is the distance. There we can go for 302, and there we go for 300. Okay, stop recording and back to the rendering. Okay, you see that we are starting to have more lighting inside the room. It is still not too much, so maybe we can go higher. And I think we can go higher with the 2 main lights there, and we can go for something more hot. So let's record and back to light number 2, and this one has a different temperature, so something like that, and it is 500. Then the light 4, this one too is a little bit nicer, and it is, let's say, 500. Also this one. So stop recording and back to the rendering. We are preparing a really simple setup for the nighttime illumination. It is just to understand how we can play with the lighting and the other stuff on a scene like this one. Let's go in another camera because I like to see how it looks. There the lighting is nice, also there is going nice. Let's see from the other point of view. There is a problem with this lamp. It is in the wrong position. So you see it is inside the vase. Now it is nice. Let's render a preview for this area. Now we have the right illumination. Okay, so we have everything to render the scene. So we have just to tune up the rendering, and we'll see the same frame with the night time and the daylight. So let's go to this camera to see if it is a nice selection. Let's render. Okay, So back in the render state, and go back to the daylight render. Let's test if it is working. Okay, it is working perfectly. Perfect. So we have to tune up the rendering, but before I save, and let's go in the render elements, and if needed we can use some passes. We'll do maybe some teeny changes just to have more. Before we leave everything, I'd like to add another state set. So add state, and this one is the ambient occlusion. Okay, so this one is simple too. Let's go to this one and let's record. We can set an A-hole material, and this one will be a V-ray material. Let's say a light material, and the map is the V-ray dirt, and we say maybe 30 centimeters. We are doing the ambient occlusion. We have 16 subdivision, a mid-flight on back side, so we have no problem for faces and normals. Compensate camera exposure, so we can be sure that everything is working nice. And then we need obviously the displacement. We have to remember to put it there, and we have to override the material with an instance. We don't need the global illumination. Okay, stop recording, and it should work. Okay. Okay, so maybe we can just go there and add 32, and let's say that the occlusion is a little bit more, but I made a mistake. So record and 50 and 32. And stop recording. So we have a more general looking for the global illumination. Okay, nice. So we can render manually every single state. So this one can be rendered, let's say 1208. We don't use some render passes because the project is really simple. Let's use the displacement, and we need the anti-alias, and that's all. Let's render. So this one is the first pass we are preparing. Okay, this one is ready, as you can see, so we can render it, and we save on a folder in the interior 9, or maybe directly in the Dropbox. Passes, and let's call it AO.TIFF. We use the 16-bit packbits. Okay, done. Now we have to go to let's render the night time. We have ambient occlusion, let's say -1, or maybe we can go to 0. No ambient occlusion because we have the separate path, and 2000 there, and there we can go for 32 and 2, and we can render. Okay, so this one is ready. We can save it. Let's call it night.tiff, and then we have to launch the daylight render. So render again, and it is started. And that's the other one. Obviously you can tune up the rendering to obtain better result, but actually it's nice for our test purpose. So that's the sunlight. Okay, sorry. Now inside Fusion we can start making the comp. So there, with the right mouse button, we need an input-output loader, and we can go to load inside our folder. In the Dropbox, okay, there. Let's load the night. Let's Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to have a copy, and this one will be the sunlight, and Ctrl+V, sorry. Okay, and this one is the AO. So that's the night. Let's go to fit. We need the merge, so composite merge. The back is the night and the foreground is the AO. Then we have to say to the merge that we are talking about multiply. So then you see we have the possibility to decide how much ambient occlusion we like to have. Then we can go for a color, brightness and contrast. Connect there and then there. So I like to have a little bit more brightness and a little bit more saturation and more contrast. So that's the render, and that's with the ambient occlusion. Let's use a color corrector and connect there and there. So in the color corrector, let's start working with the shadows, and let's find a nice looking. Then let's work on the midtones. And then to the master. So with the AB, that's the old one, and that's the new one for the moment. Okay. Then let's add the thin grain, just to have a little bit of grain hover. Obviously that's too much. So 0, 0, 15. And I like to add also a little bit of glow, and the glow can be done using the blur glow. So before we go in the glow, and then we go on this one. So talking about the glow, let's have a little bit less, and just a little bit. So that's the first one, and that's the pass we done. Let's see if we have also the possibility to add something more. Okay, I think we can add a mask, and we can go for an ellipse, and we'll use a color, brightness and contrast, and this one will be the mask, and we'll have less brightness, but the ellipse is an invert with the soft edges. So we are simulating the vignetting. A tool, color corrector, and we use the same mask, and we change the color just there. And we remove a little bit of saturation. Then the mask needs softer edge. Okay, so that's the actual result. Let's go back to this level. I'm just playing a little bit with the look. Okay, just a little bit. So sorry, that's our pure render, and that's the render we just prepared actually. So we can save this one in the right folder. We can copy the name from there. Okay, let's call it comp, and let's see what happens if we have the sunlight image. I think it needs some changes, so let's go for something like a brightness and contrast. So we have more contrast. That's the render and that's the other one. So you see we have more contrast over the image. Then let's use a color corrector, and in general I like to have more saturation, and let's stay to 0 there. And the shadows can change a little bit, the mid-tones and the highlight. So you see how the image is changing. Then we need a merge, and that's the back, and that's the it will be obviously a multiply. Just a little bit, and then let's go for a soft glow this time. The thresholds is obviously there, and I like that it is just a little bit. And the glow size is bigger. Okay, then it has a thin grain, also this one. The threshold is higher. Sorry. Okay, and there the thin grain is more little. And it is okay. Nice. Then we have again the same, and we can use brightness and contrast. This one is the mask, and in this brightness and contrast, we'll have more contrast, less brightness, a little bit less saturation, and then we have a color corrector too, and we move to something like that. Okay. So that's the first one, that's the night time. So again, let's see the AB. This one is the pure rendering, and this one is the compat. So you see how the image is changed and now it looks better than before. And we done just a really simple composite because we are using nothing so complex. So save game. If you like to output this image, you have just to put some output node there. So that's our final part. We just finished. It was a really simple project to see how to use V-Ray and the architectural stuff. We'll start soon a new project with a more complex environment, and we'll try also to obtain a more complex and photoreal result. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.